Chapter 4. Kindergarten. A Crime Scene, 1966. Yuyan Road stretches quietly from east to west, a subtle thread along the western fringe of vibrant metropolitan Shanghai. Like a reserved young girl in the shadow of the Grand Jing'an Temple, it lies nestled away from the imposing Sino-Soviet Friendship Building, only faintly touched by the lively pulse of the Red Capitol Cinema, easily missed by passers-by. Its understated charm conceals a rich history. Before 1949, as part of Shanghai's expanding foreign concession, Yuyan Road was home to some of China's most captivating and influential figures, waiting to be rediscovered. Among its former residents were Kang Youwei, the greatest reformer of the late Qing dynasty. Cai Yuanpei, philosopher and revolutionary, served as Peking University's president. Wang Jingwei, the notorious leader of the Japanese puppet government during World War II. Chen Shuseng, a former American rocket scientist known as the father of Chinese rocketry. Mao Dun, one of modern China's most celebrated novelists. Fu Lei, an esteemed translator and literary critic. Eileen Chang, the legendary female writer. Zhou Xuan, a goddess of the silver screen. Gu Shengying, a remarkably talented concert pianist. Shen Junru, a lawyer and the first president of the Supreme People's Court. Du Yuesheng, the most infamous mob boss in Shanghai. A street of scholars and spies, artists and criminals, revolutionaries and traitors. Somehow my life felt deeply connected to the memories of Yuyan Road. My kindergarten was located at the eastern end of Yuyan Road, near Jing'an Temple, just a quick walk from the former Paramount Dance Hall, now the Red Capitol Cinema, which thrived before 1949. Established by the Commerce Bureau for the children of its cadres, the kindergarten was nestled among a cluster of Western-style villas with two expansive rear gardens. To access the kindergarten, one needed to walk through a sturdy arched entryway with a black iron gate and a low movable vehicle fence. From the street, the kindergarten stood hidden behind a pale yellow wall nearly double an adult's height. Inside, it embodied a world of order and privilege. While the Western-style villas contributed to its distinctiveness, the food truly set my kindergarten apart. In the early 1960s, right after the Great Famine, when millions struggled with hunger, we always had meat available. Our kindergarten served meals that included pork, chicken, and fish. Nevertheless, this advantage created a peculiar dilemma for me. Somehow, I was born with a deep aversion to meat, particularly fatty cuts. Their greasy texture turned my stomach, and even the sight of them sparked disgust. In a world of scarcity, this physiological phenomenon felt almost like a betrayal. Growing more exasperated, my father would admonish me, saying, "How will you ever grow up if you refuse to eat meat?" In contrast, my mother was more heartbroken than upset. She feared that lacking proper nutrition could jeopardize my survival. At kindergarten, I faced a unique survival challenge, avoiding eating meat without getting caught. If caught wasting food, I could face public shaming or punishment, or worse, branded as a bourgeois degenerate. I devised a secret strategy. Whenever meat appeared in my bowl, I would quietly slip it under my rice bowl. If there were too many pieces, I would drop them onto the floor and step on them, crushing them into unrecognizable bits. When the teachers came around to inspect, I sat quietly, waiting for the right moment to dispose of the evidence. But sometimes the teachers noticed.
"Why is there always meat under your table?"
they asked. I would mumble some vague excuse and pretend not to understand. They were clueless. They didn't know how to punish me because, technically, They couldn't prove I wasted the food on purpose,
You can't punish me for meat that falls on its own.
I thought. The kindergarten ran 6 days a week, and we resided in dormitories on the second floor. The boys' and girls' spacious rooms were distinct, each equipped with 2 small balconies that overlooked Yuyuan Road. From these spots, we could catch glimpses of the windows of 3-story buildings across the street, the captivating outside world, always just out of reach. After dinner, we had a short period for play before bedtime arrived. Once the lights were off, teachers would come in with flashlights, checking rows of sleeping children to see who remained awake. Our little rebellion began then. We would pretend to sleep, keeping one eye open to catch glimpses of the teachers. It became a silent game of cat and mouse, yet the teachers always seemed to notice.
Go to sleep now,
They scolded.
I can see your eyes moving.
Some of us stifled giggles under our blankets, while others fidgeted in bed, pretending to be restless. Exasperated, the teachers warned,
I'm telling you, if you don't sleep, you'll regret it tomorrow.
but we didn't care. During our outdoor walking excursions led by the teachers, we linked hands in a long, organized line, marching like little soldiers to our destinations. Occasionally, we would sit on the broad sidewalks in front of the Sino-Soviet Friendship Building, gazing at its impressive spire while singing songs and playing games. Afterward, we would make our way back, passing by Jing'an Temple and the Red Capitol Cinema, then turning onto the narrow Yuyuan Road. The towering walls loomed closer as the shadows lengthened and the street grew quieter, lonelier, and heavier. Maybe it was just my imagination, but Yuyuan Road always seemed shrouded in mystery, hinting at hidden secrets beneath its calm surface. Perhaps, like its notorious former residents, I was also fated to experience something extraordinary and unpredictable. Even then, I wondered if history had already left its mark on me. Kindergarten life felt serene, or so it seemed. Most of us, children of government officials, grew up in one of China's safest and most privileged enclaves at the time. Shanghai stood as the most civilized city in a communist regime, and we resided in its finest district, where we received the top early education available. In our kindergarten, we even began formal schooling, learning to read and write before most children in China had their first book. For some reason, I had an affinity for this. Even before fully grasping the concept of writing, I started to shine. Like my father, I inherited a natural talent for calligraphy. Whether wielding a brush, pen, pencil, or chalk, I can produce stunning handwriting in diverse styles, earning sighs of admiration from adults. Occasionally, neighbors would invite me into their homes, offering brushes and ink as if I were a stage performer. Their interest wasn't merely admiration. They had a goal. They wished to inspire their own children by demonstrating what was possible.
Look at little Zhenfeng.
They would exclaim.
He's just 6, and see how beautifully he writes.
My kindergarten teachers shared their enthusiasm, often highlighting my writing in class as an example for others to follow. However, it was nothing extraordinary. I just enjoyed writing. Still, every situation has 2 sides. Talent can become a powerful weapon, particularly in a setting that incessantly fosters revolution, conflict, and insurgency. At a young age, I lacked genuine thoughts, yet deep within, I was unknowingly nurturing a competitive and rebellious streak, or perhaps a revolutionary instinct. This instinct ultimately drove me toward catastrophe. It was a warm spring afternoon in mid-April 1966, and the sunlight was both blinding and soothing on the skin. After lunch, we hurried outside to play. The boys dashed into the back garden while the girls giggled and went to the other side, where swings and seesaws were waiting. Our kindergarten had 2 gardens divided by a cement path. The left garden housed swings and seesaws, where girls often gathered to chat and laugh. The right garden featured a small, bare hill, serving as the boys' battlefield, where we sprinted up and down, our energy seemingly endless. As I made my way to the hill, I noticed my classmates panting and gasping for air as they raced to the summit, only to hurry back down again. Initially, I assumed they were simply engaging in a game of good guys versus bad guys, dashing around aimlessly. Without hesitation, I joined the fun. That's when I heard the sound. Pia! 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 It was odd, sharp, and rhythmic. I glanced up. Su Feng stood at the top of the hill, sunglasses perched on his nose, one hand on his hip, and the other gripping a black toy gun. He pointed it at us, firing off, Pia! 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 I froze in my climb. Before I could react, the boys ahead of me turned around, pretending to be shot, collapsing like soldiers in retreat. They tumbled down, pulling me along with them. At the bottom of the hill, I glanced up again. Su Feng was still poised with his gun, taking aim and firing. He seemed so arrogant, almost untouchable. I felt a surge of anger as I clenched my fists tightly.
How could he be so reactionary?
I murmured to the boys beside me.
This Kuomintang. Does the guy really think he can act so viciously?
The words flowed forth, familiar phrases echoing in my mind, snippets from the news, propaganda slogans, and lessons from school. I didn't fully understand them, yet they resonated with me.
Let's unite and defeat him! Let's push him off the hill!
I called out passionately. A few boys hesitated.
But didn't you see?
One of them replied, sounding anxious.
He's got sunglasses and a gun. We don't have a gun. We can't fight him.
The others nodded, already accepting their defeat. But what was the reason? Was it just because he had a fake gun? Or was it solely because he wore sunglasses that symbolized a Kuomintang agent at that instant? To match Su Feng's badness, or even surpass it, required boldness that no one was prepared to display. I found myself pondering.
What could surpass what Su Feng was doing?
Suddenly, an idea struck me.
What could be bolder than challenging Chairman Mao? Su Feng would certainly not dare to do that. If he did, he would likely face arrest and imprisonment. But if I found the courage, I would succeed.
Without hesitating, I noticed a piece of chalk on the ground. I returned to the concrete path at the base of the hill and boldly wrote 5 big letters.
Oppose Chairman Mao.
I lifted my head and shouted,
Su Feng, come down! What's so remarkable about you? I dare to challenge Chairman Mao Do. You dare to do the same?
Su Feng stood motionless while the other boys remained silent. I felt their shocked gazes fixed on me. Slowly, Su Feng descended the hill, glancing at the words on the ground, his expression changing. With a touch of anxiety, he pointed at me.
You wrote that?
So what?
I shot back.
Are you afraid?
I stood tall, filled with courage and determination. For a brief second, Su Feng was left utterly speechless. The boys stood frozen. Uncertainty etched on their faces. The playground, vibrant and noisy just moments earlier, was now enveloped in an eerie silence. No one played anymore, and no one dared to move. Only I remained resolute, my eyes locked on Su Feng, challenging him to a duel. Then, unexpectedly, I felt a sharp pull on my ear. Pain shot through me. Before I could react, a strong hand gripped my arm, lifting me off the ground. I turned to see it was Teacher Shai. Her expression was stormy with anger.
Return to the classroom, everyone!
She commanded. My classmates fled in all directions. She hauled me toward the auditorium, her grip relentless. I barely had time to process what was happening before she threw me inside, slamming the door shut behind her. The massive auditorium was empty. It was just Teacher Shy and me. Her lips trembled, and her voice was quiet, shaking with anger.
How could you do such a thing? How could you write, oppose Chairman Mao?
I remained motionless. In an instant, a chilling sense of awareness overwhelmed me. I had committed a grave mistake.
You will stand here and reflect.
She pointed to a large portrait of Chairman Mao at the front of the room.
Confess your crime. Do not leave until I return.
It was only then that I fully grasped my situation. I had just perpetrated the ultimate crime. I was a counter-revolutionary, and I was completely unaware of what that meant.